My 17-year-old daughter was excluded from my sister's wedding for being too young. I didn't argue. I simply said we wouldn't attend. But when Christmas came, I made a silent change, and the whole family went crazy. My name is Claire, and I'm the eldest of 3 sisters. Growing up, that meant I was the responsible one, the helper, the babysitter, the one who took care of things when our parents were too tired or distracted. I never really minded, not at first. That was just how things worked. Tessa was the middle child, the artist, the center of attention. Rachel, the youngest, was the baby. She always got her way. I was the one who cleaned up after everyone else. When I grew up and became a mother, things changed a bit, but not really. I adopted my daughter Maya when she was 3 years old. She had those big, serious eyes and that quiet way of watching the world, as if she still didn't trust it. I remember the first time she called me Mom. I cried in the car after dropping her off at preschool. From the very beginning, I promised her she would never feel unwanted in my family again. But I couldn't keep that promise, no matter how hard I tried. Tessa got engaged last spring, big announcement, big ring, big Instagram caption. I congratulated her, of course. Maya even made her a card. She cut out tiny wedding bells and glued them on with too much glitter. Tessa said it was sweet, then left it on the back seat of her car. I found it there 2 weeks later, half crumpled under a Starbucks cup. Still, Maya was excited for the wedding. She started looking at dresses online and asking if she should wear her hair up or down. I could tell she was nervous, but hopeful. She wanted to be included. Then the invitation arrived by mail. One of those fancy ones, thick paper, gold trim, the kind that probably cost more than my monthly water bill. I opened it on the kitchen counter while Maya did homework at the table. The usual, location, dress code, RSVP link. And then I saw it, adults only, 18 and over, strictly enforced, no exceptions. I read it twice, thinking maybe I had missed something, but I hadn't. Maya saw my face. Before I could say anything, she looked up from her notebook and asked, "She doesn't want me there, does she?" I said, "It's an 18+ wedding." She was quiet for a second, then said, "It's because I'm adopted." That sentence broke something in me. She said it so calmly, like it was just a fact she had come to accept. I told her, no, of course not, but I knew what she meant. It wasn't the first time something like this had happened, not exactly this, but smaller moments. Slippery comments. My mother once introduced Maya as Claire's child, never as our granddaughter. Tessa referred to her as your daughter, like she was talking about a neighbor's kid. There were moments at family gatherings when Maya offered to help in the kitchen, and no one acknowledged her. I tried to believe it was unintentional, that they didn't mean anything by it, but this time it was clear. I didn't fight. I didn't yell. I just went online and marked that we would not attend. No explanation. Just no. I thought that would be the end of it. The next day, Tessa texted me, "Hey, just saw your RSVP, everything okay?" Then a follow-up, "If this is about the age thing, I hope you understand we're being super consistent with everyone. Nothing personal, right? Nothing personal." Sure, except Maya is her niece, and she's 17, not 7. I didn't respond. Then Rachel messaged me, "Tessa says you're not coming." Why? What's going on? Then my mother called. She never calls just to talk, so I answered, already bracing myself. "Claire," she said, "I heard you're not coming to the wedding." "It's really because of the age limit," I said. "Maya's not invited. I'm not going without her. She's almost 18, my mother said. It's not like she's a little kid. She's family." There was a pause. "Don't punish your sister for this. It's just one night." I didn't argue. I just said, "We're not going," and hung up. That should have been it. But then came the group chat messages. The guilt. The little comments that weren't even subtle. "Rachel, can't believe you're making such a fuss over a rule. You always have to create drama. Maya's not the only one who's not coming. This isn't about her. You're making it about her. My mother sent a long message about family unity and forgiveness. About how we've all made sacrifices, about how hard it is to be caught in the middle. I didn't respond. Maya deleted the photos of the dress from her phone. She stopped talking about the wedding. She didn't cry. But I think that's what hurt me the most, how unsurprised she was. She had already learned what I had spent too long trying to ignore. So when Christmas came, and no one had apologized or even mentioned it, I made a quiet decision. I didn't invite them. No big announcement. No explosion. Just silence. And that's what really made them furious. If you had asked me 10 years ago what I thought motherhood would be like, I would have said birthday parties, messy hugs, glitter in the carpet. I wouldn't have said trying to protect a little girl from people who say they love you, and her. When Maya came into my life, she was 3 years old and heartbreakingly serious. Big brown eyes, soft curls, and a calm gaze that made you feel like she was memorizing everything you said, just in case she needed to survive you. She didn't adapt quickly. She didn't laugh when expected. She didn't run into my arms like in a movie scene. But when she finally took my hand at the supermarket without being asked, I cried in the parking lot for 10 minutes. My husband Ethan was the one who said, "That's the moment she chose you." And I've been choosing her every day since. But my family never quite knew what to do with her. At first, I chalked it up to discomfort, to adjustment. She didn't have my eyes. She didn't yet share my last name. She didn't join conversations at parties like the other kids. But it was more than that. It was the way my mother referred to her as, the little one, instead of Maya. The way Tessa once asked, "Are you going to tell her she's adopted when she's older?" while Maya was standing right there. The way Rachel's kids got Easter baskets from our parents with their names on them, while Maya got a generic one with a tag that read, "Happy Spring." It wasn't obvious. It was quieter than that. Softer. Easier to excuse, if you wanted to. But Maya noticed. She always noticed. I tried to be patient. I really did. I explained. I redirected. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. When Maya was 6, she told my father she wanted to be an artist. He smiled and said, "You'll need something more practical than that." When she was 8, she drew a portrait of our family, me, Ethan, and her, and gave it to my mother. My mother smiled, said thank you, then set it aside and never mentioned it again. Later, Maya asked why it wasn't on the fridge like the other cousins' drawings. I didn't know what to say. The first time I truly lost my patience was at Rachel's engagement party. Maya was 12. Rachel had invited us, more or less. We were added to a mass message with the time, date, and place. No, can't wait to see you. No personal note. But we went anyway because I thought, this is how we change it. We keep showing up. Maya wore a pale blue dress and those little silver shoes she'd picked out herself. She was nervous. She kept asking if she looked okay, if she could stay close to me at the party. Rachel greeted us with a tight smile and a hi, then turned to hug the next person. No questions for Maya. No compliment. No, you look so grown up. Just air. We stayed for 20 minutes, maybe 25. Maya stayed by my side the whole time. On the way home, she said, "She doesn't like me, does she?" I said, "She doesn't know you." She said, "She's had 10 years. And I had no answer for that. The thing is, I don't think they ever fully accepted that Maya wasn't temporary. It's like some part of them believed I would eventually have a real child, and this would become a sweet chapter, something they could refer to as, that time Claire took in that girl. They never said it out loud. They didn't have to. Last year, for Maya's 16th birthday, we rented a space at the community center and decorated it with her artwork. It was her idea. She didn't want a big party with loud music. She wanted to hang her paintings, serve cupcakes, and invite the people who had supported her. She made the invitations herself. Sent them to relatives, friends, and a few teachers. Rachel didn't come. Neither did Tessa. My parents arrived 30 minutes late and brought a card that said, "For a sweet girl," with a $20 bill inside. Maya thanked them. She's always polite. Would you like me to continue with the rest of the story? She didn't say much, just helped clean up. She packed her canvases back into the car. But later that night, when we were home and the dishes were washed, I found one of her sketches. It was a drawing of the three of us, me, Ethan, and her at the party, but our faces were blank. I think that was when I stopped hoping they would change. Not because of the card, or their late arrival, or the lack of effort, but because Maya didn't even seem hurt anymore. Not in the same way. She had stopped being surprised. And that scared me more than anything else. So when the wedding invitation never came, not even a phone call or a conversation, just a quiet exclusion, I knew what I had to do. I didn't argue. I didn't beg or ask for an exception. I simply told Maya we wouldn't be going. She didn't cry. She just nodded and said, okay. Later that night, she asked, do you think they even noticed we weren't there? I said yes, because I needed her to believe that it mattered, even if they didn't believe it themselves. We spent the wedding weekend at home. Ethan made French toast. Maya painted in the sunroom. I read a book from cover to cover. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't a protest. It was peace. And honestly, it felt strange at first, quiet in a way that makes you realize just how much noise you've been living in for years. I didn't miss the ceremony. I didn't wonder how the flowers looked or if the cake tasted good. I thought about Maya. I thought about how I used to seek their approval in every comment, every holiday, every family dinner, and how, little by little, they had taught her not to expect it. And I thought about the next holiday, how for years, I had hosted Christmas out of obligation, inviting them, feeding them, pretending that their half-hearted smiles were enough. This time, I wouldn't do that. This time, I would do something different. Ethan asked me in early December, should I order the usual folding chairs? I shook my head. There would be no extra seating this year. He didn't push. Maya didn't ask. And when the group chat started buzzing with, who's bringing dessert to Claire's this year, and should we come over the night before like always? I didn't say anything. I just watched the messages pile up, unread. I didn't announce that I wouldn't be hosting Christmas. I didn't make a speech or post a brave status or tell everyone to go find somewhere else to eat their passive-aggressive ham. I simply said nothing. And that silence, apparently, was the loudest thing I had ever done. The group chat started buzzing around December 25th. Rachel, Claire, we're still doing Christmas Eve dinner at your place, right? Let me know what I should bring. Sadie, of course, I'll arrive at 5 again. Let me know if Maya wants anything specific this year, if she's going to be there this time. That one almost got to me, if she's going to be there this time. As if Maya were the problem. As if her absence at the wedding were a personal failure of hers, not the result of not being invited. I didn't respond. For the first time in years, I didn't deep clean the house. I didn't pre-order a roast. I didn't pull out the extra folding chairs or drag the large table extension from the garage. And when no one got a reply, they started calling. First it was my mother, I let it ring. Then Rachel. Then Tessa. Then my father. He left a voicemail, Claire, we just want to know what's going on. Your mother's upset. It's not too late to do the right thing. The right thing. As if hosting people who excluded my daughter was the right thing. As if feeding them would fix what they refused to acknowledge. We didn't host anyone that year. Instead, Ethan and I made lasagna in our pajamas while Maya baked sugar cookies in shapes that barely held together. We stayed home. We watched movies. We opened our presents early. We laughed more than we had in months. We felt normal in a way our holidays never had before. No one walked on eggshells. No one had to translate snide remarks. No one fell silent when Maya walked into the room. It was just us. And that's when the messages started to change. December 26th. Tessa in the group chat, I think it's sad. We've all tried to welcome Maya, but Claire has made it impossible to connect with her. Rachel, I mean, if you cut ties with the family every time there's a disagreement, you'll end up with no one. Dad, the way you're handling this is cruel. I'm sorry, but it is. My mother sent me a photo of their Christmas tree at home with the caption, "To be continued, if you have more text." Would you like me to continue with the final part? It wasn't the same without you. Maya would have loved her gifts. I didn't respond, because they weren't gifts from Maya. They were invitations wrapped in guilt, to come back and pretend everything was fine. And I had done that for far too long. A few days later, we received a card in the mail. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Inside, my mother had written, "I wish you'd think about the example you're setting. Maya will see how easily you push people away." That line stayed with me. Because I realized, that's exactly what I want her to see. Not that love is disposable, but that true love doesn't ask you to make yourself small. It doesn't ask you to sit in silence while the people around you pretend your pain is too uncomfortable to acknowledge. Maya didn't ask about the messages. But I know she saw the attention. She's never one to ask directly. She just watches, absorbs, like she's still trying to figure out which parts of the world are safe. One night, she was curled up on the couch with a blanket over her legs, sketching something. She paused, then said, "If I weren't adopted, do you think they'd like me more?" That question hit harder than any of the texts. I sat beside her. "Sweetheart," I said. "They might pretend better. But the way they treat people who aren't like them, that was never about you." She looked at me with those same serious eyes from the day I met her and said, "I think I don't want them to like me anymore." And that was the moment I stopped waiting for an apology. A few days later, my dad called again. I let it ring. Then he sent a text. "Your mother isn't sleeping. She feels like she's lost you. We know we were wrong, but that doesn't justify shutting everyone out. That's not who you are." I stared at that line for a long time. That's not who you are. I used to wonder about that. Used to question if I was being too cold, too sensitive, too harsh. But no, this is who I am. Someone who finally knows what she will tolerate and what she won't. Someone who knows that keeping the peace at the expense of her child's dignity is not noble, it's cowardice disguised as tradition. The final straw came from Tessa. She sent a voice message, one of those rambling ones where people try to sound calm, but every sentence hides a knife. "I just think it's sad, Claire. You always made such a show of how much you love Maya, but now it seems like you're using her as a shield. Like, every time someone doesn't treat her like royalty, you cut them off. That's not healthy. That's not parenting. That's obsession." I didn't listen to the rest. I deleted the message and blocked her number. Because if loving Maya fiercely and fully is seen as obsession in their world, then yes, I'm obsessed. I am wildly and unapologetically obsessed with protecting the person who needed me most. And nothing they say will make me regret that. The new year came and went quietly. Maya fell asleep before midnight, a half-eaten cookie still in her hand on the couch. Ethan and I toasted with tea instead of champagne and watched fireworks in silence. He looked at me and asked, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it. I didn't say it out loud. I missed the idea of them. But that version never really existed. He nodded. Didn't say anything else. Just took my hand. I don't know what will happen next. I'm sure they'll keep trying. People like them don't fade quietly. There will be more messages, more posts. Maybe one of them will show up at Maya's graduation next year, acting like nothing ever happened. But I've made my decision. There won't be a big showdown. There won't be a dramatic confrontation. Just quiet distance. And sometimes, that's the most powerful choice of all. It happened on a cold, gray, silent Thursday. I had just gotten home from work, still wearing my coat, when the doorbell rang. I wasn't expecting anyone. Ethan was working late. Maya was upstairs, working on a portfolio project for her college applications. I opened the door, and there were my parents, standing on the porch like it was still 2007 and we were pretending nothing had ever gone wrong. My mother held a Tupperware container in her hands. I think they were oatmeal cookies, her specialty. Soft in the middle, slightly burnt around the edges. The kind she used to make when I was little. Claire, she said with a small, faltering smile. We thought we'd stop by. I didn't say anything at first. Just stared at the container in her hands, like it might be filled with traps. My father stepped forward beside her. Can we come in? Just for a minute? No, I said. There was a pause. Surprise, maybe. But not long enough to matter. My mother tried again, with a warmer tone. We just wanted to talk. Things got heated, but we're still your family. She offered the cookies like a peace treaty. I didn't take them. That's when her smile began to crack. You don't have to be like this, she said, her voice tightening. We know it's been hard, raising a teenager. You've pushed everyone away, my father added. We tried to be patient. We gave you space. But this? You're going to lose your real family over a girl who's leaving in a few months. My stomach clenched. She's 17, my mother said gently. She'll be going to college soon. And then what? You'll be alone. You'll regret this. I could hear the words underneath the words. This wasn't about reconciliation. It was about control. And then my mother said it, what I think she had always believed deep down. I'm sorry, Claire, but she's not blood. She's not really one of us. She said it gently, like she was doing me a favor. Like she expected me to nod and say, you're right. I didn't. Instead, I took a deep breath, stepped back, and said, you need to leave. Right now. My father looked confused. Claire, no. I said it louder. You can't come here with cookies and pity and act like this is kindness. You can't insult my daughter to my face and then wonder why I'm not letting you in. You're going to regret this, my mother said again, her voice cracking now. When she leaves you, when she forgets about you, you'll see. Our door will still be open. You'll come back. You'll realize we were right. I didn't say anything. I didn't need to. I closed the door. I locked it. And I leaned against it until I couldn't hear their footsteps anymore. I told Maya the next day. I wasn't going to. I didn't want her carrying their poison. But I've never lied to her, not about anything important. She sat very still while I told her. What they said about her leaving. About not being blood. About how I'd come crawling back someday. She didn't cry, but I could see it in her hands, how tightly she clenched them in her lap, how her shoulders tensed. They really think I'll leave you, she said. No, I said. They expect you to. So I'll need them again. She nodded slowly. They don't have the right to expect anything about me, she said. I thought that would be the end. I should have known better. Because a week later, my cousin Sarah forwarded me an email Rachel had sent to the extended family. It was long, rambling, passive-aggressive in the way only Rachel could manage. But the point was clear. She told them I had abandoned the family for a girl who had manipulated her way into my life and isolated me from everyone else. She implied that Maya had been difficult, distant, and ungrateful. That my relationship with her wasn't healthy. That I was obsessed with protecting her from imaginary slights. It was vile. And worse, it worked. People started reaching out. Aunt Linda messaged me asking if I was okay. Uncle John called Ethan, asking if I was having a breakdown. My second cousin Chloe left a comment on one of Maya's art posts. You're very lucky. Don't forget who gave you a home. Maya saw it. I saw her see it. And that was the last straw. I didn't write a reply. I wrote a record. Screenshots, messages, photos. Every ignored invitation, every exclusion, every receipt. I wrote a letter. Not emotional. Not angry. Just facts. I sent it to the extended family, once. With the subject line, for those who wanted the full story. I didn't ask them to take sides. I didn't demand apologies. I just gave them the truth. Some replied. Some didn't. A few quietly unfriended Rachel. A few didn't believe a word I wrote. It didn't matter. Because I wasn't doing it for them. I was doing it for Maya. So she would never question if she imagined it. So she would never ask again. Do you think they'd like me more if I were blood? After that, I blocked everyone who tried to argue. Everyone who said, "But maybe if you just talked it out." Everyone who thought keeping the peace was more important than protecting a child from emotional abuse disguised as family tradition. We never heard from them again, not directly. I'm sure they still talk about us. I'm sure I'm the story they tell at parties when someone mentions estranged children. I'm sure Maya's name is still spoken in tense, critical tones. Let them talk. They lost their right to know her. Fast forward. Maya is in college now. Art program. Top of her class. She still calls me every night, not out of obligation, just out of habit. She sends photos of her sketches. Sometimes she asks for my opinion. Sometimes she just wants to say goodnight. When I dropped her off at her dorm, she hugged me for a full minute and whispered, "I'm not going anywhere." Maybe she meant physically. But I knew what she really meant. People say you can't choose your family. I did. I chose her, over blood, over guilt, over years of learned silence. And if they still think I'll come crawling back someday, let them wait. Sometimes I still think about that moment on the porch. My mother offering me those cookies like they could undo years of silence. As if sugar could fix what they never had the courage to say out loud. And sometimes, late at night, I wonder if I overreacted. If I should have tried harder. Been quieter. Been more forgiving. But then I remember the look on Maya's face when I told her, "They can't treat you like that." I remember how tightly she hugged me before leaving for college. I remember that I made her a promise, something no one ever promised me growing up. That I would choose her, every time. Do you think I did the right thing? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe.